Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man whose girlfriend went back to her ex and then came back. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I met Amy through my sister and we started dating once we got to know each other. We took it slow and had a ton of fun the whole time. Well, I did. I guess Amy saw it another way. I thought things were okay between us most of the time, but every so often we would have an argument because Amy would just turn cold super fast, almost always at a random time. Like, we would be sitting on the couch watching a movie and she would suddenly sit up and say that she didn't want to watch this anymore, like really aggressively. She would go from happy to angry or sad like a light coming on. It was that quick. So I thought that everything was fine except for her mood swings. One day, we're sitting at home and we're cooking together. She exits the kitchen and comes back and starts just berating me about everything I've ever done wrong and some stuff I hadn't even done. I'm trying to figure out what's going on and she's just exploding at me. Keep in mind, this is at like 8 in the morning. Our day had barely started and Amy is livid over mistakes that I made or didn't make months ago. She tells me she needs some space and that she's going to her friend's house. I'm trying to get into contact with her the whole day because I'm worried she's having a mental breakdown. I get in contact with some of her friends to see if she's with any of them. Nothing. I call her folks and ask about her, and they just say that's how she is sometimes. WTF. Basically hear nothing and spend the whole day worrying about her. She comes home the next morning and I can hear her car making this tapping or clicking noise as she comes in. She comes back as if nothing happened. I try to ask her about what's happening with her, and she just flat out tells me that she went to her ex-boyfriend's house. I'm effing stunned. I couldn't believe it. I have no idea what went wrong, no idea what she was going through, no idea of what the F happened to make things go so badly. To top it all off, she's going around the house as if she was just gonna let that slide and things are okay now. I start yelling at her, and she looks at me like I'm the crazy one. Effing insane. I tell her to go get her stuff and get out, and that we're through. She starts packing up, gets her things loaded into her car, and then nonchalantly turns to me and asks what that noise is in her car. At this point, I'm so mentally drained by what happened that I just automatically answer that it's engine trouble. She leaves and I don't hear from her again. I get a call from my sister asking what happened, but that's it. Story's over. That is, until I get a call from my buddy Mark, who's a mechanic. He calls me a week later and laughingly tells me he's gonna highball my girlfriend since she's in his shop. I told him to go ahead since we broke up. He asks me about it and I tell him the whole story. He just says, "Okay, call you back in a minute," then hangs up the phone. Later in the week, he calls me back and tells me he has a present for me. He comes over to my place with some beers and this long case. I open it up and, I swear to God, inside is an effing metal sword. Like a Highlander claymore with a display and everything. He tells me that someone he knows was selling it and he snatched it up. I tell him thanks and he tells me my ex paid for it. What happened when Amy went to his shop was that Mark quickly found out that Amy's engine problem was a broken lifter which cost maybe $800 to replace. However, he told her it was a very serious problem and her engine would probably need to be replaced. She said okay, and Mark charged her $5,000 for the whole thing. So I lost a girlfriend, but thanks to my good friend, I now have a big-ass sword. I'm glad something good came out of all of this for you, OP. Your ex-girlfriend sounds like a piece of work. I'm super glad you ended things with her for your peace of mind. The fact that she didn't see anything wrong in going MIA and then getting home and announcing that she was with her ex-boyfriend surprised me. Of course you want to break up with her, as you should because she's way too toxic for your mental health. I wish you would get luckier with love next time. Good luck, OP. Story 2. My wife 31 and I 34's relationship has been on the rocks for a while, but a few months ago we started counseling. At the end of April, we told the therapist that everything was so much better that we wanted to wait a few extra weeks before our next meeting. However, in May, she started spending more and more time away and staying out later, sometimes 12 to 3 a.m., at her weekly karaoke thing with her friends while I was at home watching our 3-year-old. Then she started spending an extra night at karaoke and going to the pool with her friends on the weekend. After she told me that one of her other friends was leaving her husband for a guy she met on Facebook, I started checking up on my wife's text and Facebook messages. She was talking to an old high school friend on Facebook who I did not know and who was asking to talk dirty to her. I found that she had been texting one guy in particular from the bar every single day for at least a month, and visited his house twice when she said she was going to the pool. I don't know everything they talked about as she deleted most of the messages, but I ordered a text history which showed numbers and times. I found a conversation with one of her girlfriends who called the guy from karaoke that thing you got going on the side, and another conversation where she said she wanted to cry because he was all over another girl. When I confronted her, she said she just wanted to be friends with him, but he had a boner when she left after her second visit to his place, and that ended their relationship since she felt like his motives weren't acceptable. However, I saw a message from him on Facebook a few weeks later, which she claims was unsolicited on her part. I asked her to block them, and she agreed. After a few days, I went ahead and blocked him to see what she would do. 2 weeks later, she unblocked him. I haven't found other evidence that she's still talking to him or that their relationship went any further than hanging out with his roommate at his house, but I feel very uncomfortable that she's unblocked him and continues to talk to his roommate. When I asked her to quit talking to his roommate and block the guys on Facebook who have said they want to talk dirty to her, her response is that she can talk to whoever the hell she wants. I also told her I wasn't comfortable with her continuing to delete messages from another guy who called to ask her out to the bar on a Friday night, so she changed his name to a girl's name in her phone so she could continue talking to him on occasion without upsetting me. They only text a few times about once a week, but the fact that I feel she's hiding it from me makes me uneasy. In her defense, she's quit going to karaoke. She has unfriended the worst offenders on Facebook, though unblocked them. I've not seen evidence that she's talking to any of the guys who have hit on her. She's been home by 10 p.m. at the latest since I confronted her about staying out so late. As far as I can tell, she's just going to dinner with a girlfriend once a week now. However, because she's been deleting text and Facebook messages with a couple of these guys and maintains that she still wants to be friends with them, I'm having a really hard time trusting that one of these relationships is not going to become something more if left unchecked. Part of me just wants to trust that she really will prevent these relationships from going too far. At the same time, I'm reminded of so many close friends and my mom who ended up cheating on their spouses in relationships that started as just friends. I should also point out that I'm not completely against her having guy friends, but the ones that I've not met make me nervous. She said she's invited them over for parties before, but plans haven't worked out. She's also planning an overnight trip to go clubbing in a city about 2 hours away next weekend. I've told her I'm not really comfortable with it, but I'm trying to trust that she'll be faithful. So I guess what this comes down to is that I don't think she's physically cheated on me or that she's setting out to cheat on me, but she thinks I'm an overbearing tyrant for wanting her to end relationships with these young single guys who seem to have no respect for our marriage. All her friends seem to agree that I'm a terrible asshole tyrant, and all my friends think that these relationships are unacceptable or at least suspicious and unwise. This is ridiculous, OP. Your wife has and is still emotionally cheating with different people. Her refusal to stop doing so is disrespectful of you and your marriage. And you two are barreling towards a divorce, even if you don't realize it now, which it seems like you only halfway do. I would say go for marriage counseling, but you two already tried that. Draw a line in the sand and stick by it. Make it clear that you've asked her to be present and committed to your marriage. If she refuses to stop talking to men who are interested in her sexually, then divorce her. Remove yourself from the situation if she won't stop creating the situation and trying to cheat on you. Your kid will be fine too. 2 standard homes are way better than a broken one. Now for some comments. Why do you think she has not cheated on you? From what you've posted, it certainly looks this way. She deletes messages, hangs out at single guys' houses, stays out late, her friends know about some of them. She refuses to cut contact when you ask, won't go back to couples counseling. I mean, all you have to go off of is her word, and you clearly don't trust her. Okay, I'm not trying to kick a man when he's down, I swear. You're obviously hurting, and I'm sorry you're going through this, especially with a 3-year-old kid. But your wife is literally trying to get one of these emotional affairs in bed with her. She has relationships with these guys. She's trying to have sex with them. She's disappointed that it hasn't worked yet. Brother, you gotta open your eyes. Your stay-at-home wife is cheating on you. I'm sorry, but you know it's true. 1. She's 31 and still parties like she's in high school. 2. Get defensive when you ultimately call her out on talking dirty to sleazy dudes from karaoke bars. 3. She changes names on her phone so she can continue with her ways and chat with random dudes. 4. Still continue to party and not give a damn about even considering your feelings in these situations. 5. She has no respect for you. OP, I feel like no matter how much work and effort you want to put into this relationship for the family, she needs to want it just as much, and right now she's far from even caring about it.